I want to at least make sure that everyone understands there's a crisis of leadership in Washington and in Europe on how to deal with the Middle East. From the moment that the president embarked on his very critical trip to Cairo to speak to the Islamic world and to try to open up a new era between the United States and the Muslim world, and I was deeply involved in the White House at the time, both in the preparation of that speech and after that speech. The sheer disappointment as a result of the so-called Arab Spring, and, by the way, a determination by the president to withdraw from Iraq, Afghanistan, and to not involve the United States in further wars in the Middle East, was the overall strategy. You can read it in the Atlantic article that the president gave one of the most famous interviews that any president would have given about his determination and disappointment with Sunni Arab states, with Saudi Arabia, with Israel, that his whole purpose was to pivot out of the Middle East and let the Middle East be handled by Middle Easterners. He didn't count on ISIS. He accused ISIS of being, well, he didn't accuse it. He said it's a JV squad, which is an American euphemism for they're not important. They're really irrelevant. They're the junior league of terrorism. At each step along the way, the president's tactics have not been able to be effectively enveloped with an effective strategy because of events that have overtaken, in many respects, his grand strategy in the region. The next president has an enormous challenge on their hands. The problem is that there's no leadership in Europe. There's inadequate, shall we say, innovative strategy within the Democratic Party to think about these issues as if we have to now address them anew rather than just a continuation of the old. And while I hope that a new transatlantic strategy to contain these two forces will occur in the Middle East, the president just arrived in Warsaw for the NATO summit. The collapse of the European project will have a direct impact on the future of the NATO alliance. The collapse of the European project will give further incentive to Putin and his allies in Iran to continue their policies to undermine our friends and our core interests in the region. If we do not begin thinking strategically how to counter and contain those policies, we're in deep trouble.